to the association weekend, here to recap as the Magic take game one in Detroit against Detroit. I'm Lauren Rosen, joined by Antonio Daniels. It's our first upset of weekend one of the 2026 playoffs. Antonio, shall we get right into what happened?
Let's do it.
Antonio, tell me, how did Orlando pull off this upset? All five starters finish in double figures. You said that Paolo Banchero playing better than you've seen him play in a long, long time. What did you like about what Orlando was able to do in game one?
Okay, Lauren, there are two things that kind of jump off the screen to me. One of them is the whole rest versus rhythm conversation that you always hear when you're talking about sports at the end of the year. Remember, the Detroit Pistons haven't played a game since last Sunday. But the Orlando Magic played 2 games this week, and it looked like it today. Orlando looked like a team that was in regular season rhythm, but understood the magnitude of the game. The Detroit Pistons, on the other hand, you can tell by the start of the game, they looked like a team that was trying to find that rhythm that they had to end the regular season. You can't simulate these games in practice. You can't simulate it. Orlando looked like a team that was in rhythm, and the Detroit Pistons looked like a team that was somewhat rusty from the jump.
You're taking a look at Cade Cunningham. He is indeed back, and you mentioned sort of the way that they're going to need to find a little bit of a rhythm. A reminder that Cade missed a significant chunk of the end of the season due to that collapsed lung, right? So what did you see from him? He does finish with a game-high 39 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, but not quite enough. Like you said, not quite humming the way that this Pistons team has this season when it's at its best.
And the thing is, when you come to this part of the season, Lauren, you're not really concerned with the stars. The stars are going to show up. There's a reason why they are who they are. There's a reason Cade Cunningham is in the MVP conversation. He's not the guy that you're worried about. He's going to show up every single night. But it's on him to kind of get everybody involved, to set the tone. And when you look at this Detroit Pistons team, all year, this is a team that operated out of defense. That's their identity. That's who JB Bickerstaff is. And they never really took the Orlando Magic out of what they wanted to run. This is the best, as you just said, Lauren. This is the best to me that Paolo Banchero has looked in months. And the Orlando Magic are going to go as Paolo Banchero goes, plain and simple.
So when Banchero is at this level, right, and the rest of the starters are able to move around him the way that they were able to tonight, let's take a quick pass through those guys. Franz Wagner, 19. Wendell Carter, Desmond Bane, both score 17. Suggs has 16. They all participated in the rebounding game, in the assist game. When this starting five is able to hum the way it was tonight, how far can they make it in this series against the guys that have led the East all season long?
Well, I think they can make it a competitive series because the most difficult teams to guard in this league are balanced teams that are balanced across the board. And when Paolo Banchero is playing like this, he now becomes a gravity guy. By gravity guy, I mean you can't simply guard him with one guy. Now you have to tilt the floor toward him. The moment you tilt the floor toward him, that makes the game stress-free for everybody you just named. Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter. All these other guys that are coming off the bench, Desmond Bane, and are playing extremely well because you get an opportunity to play off of Paolo Banchero's gravity. In the last month and a half or so, Paolo Banchero hasn't been in the type of rhythm that he was in tonight. But this shows, honestly, how dangerous this Orlando Magic can be when Paolo Banchero is playing at this level.
A closer look at our stats. Looking at the Pistons side of things, only 2 finish in double figures. Cade Cunningham, who we've already discussed, Tobias Harris had a really strong outing in Detroit, but they're going to need more production from the Duncan Robinsons of the world, from Asar Thompson. We'll talk a little bit more about the award that he's up for in just a little bit. But what else do you want to see from the supporting cast of Detroit as this series moves along?
See, Lauren, you were just talking about the awards. Another guy who's up for one of the awards that didn't play the way that he's played all year is Jalen Duren, right? He's up for most improved player in the league. They need him. They need him. The reason that the Detroit Pistons have made the proverbial jump is because of Jalen Duren's improvement, right? He's no longer a 10, 8-point guy. He's become a 20-10 guy. And again, like we talked about what the Orlando Magic need to be successful, for the Detroit Pistons to be successful, it cannot be all on Cade Cunningham's shoulders. It can't be. They need that 2-man game. that Jokic Murray that has now become Cunningham and Duren, they need Duren to pull his weight as well.
Well, speaking of award nominees, and we'll get further into who those finalists are as announced by the NBA earlier this evening. JB Bickerstaff, finalist for Coach of the Year this year. He was on the losing end of Game 1. What adjustments does he want to see from his Pistons team moving forward? Let's take a listen now.
JB, felt like the team just came out flat tonight. Where did you identify where the team went wrong tonight?
I thought we were a little just rusty to start. Coming out, giving up a 35-point quarter. That's not typical for us. I felt like we were just chasing them all night. We made some runs to get ourselves back in the ball game. Defensively, I didn't think we were our best. Critical, errors, mistakes that they made us pay for. Getting back to the use of playing at NBA speed, I think, got us a little bit tonight.
Hey, Coach, from your point of view, what do you think made it difficult for Jalen Duren to get things going tonight?
They packed the paint in. They're going to put a bunch of bodies in the paint to try to make it difficult on him. Our pick and roll game, making sure we're making the executing properly there can create space for him. So it was a good opportunity for us to see, and then we'll go prepare for the next one.
JB, you guys have talked about obviously spreading the ball a lot. It seemed like at times you guys weren't able to do that as much as you typically like to. Is that something you guys need to focus on again, or is that something that Orlando was doing that's maybe making it all difficult?
No, it's something that we just need to pay attention to. I thought you're spot on. There were times in the game where we got stagnant, and I feel like that happened to us because we got down early, and then it felt like, there was so much weight and so much pressure on each possession that we got to a point where we were just trying to do it all, hit a home run every time. So, again, I thought there were moments where we found what we needed to do, and we just need to replicate that more often.
Cade had it rolling, ended up almost having 40, but what's kind of the challenge of getting other people involved when they are packing the paint that way?
He's doing what he has to do. We were struggling to score. So I like the way that he was being aggressive. But again, our offense has to be, part of that fluidity that we've talked about. There's got to be more movement. We got to fight through a little bit of the physicality more, and just not settle for the first thing. But in moments, he's going to take over the games like he did tonight.
JB, you do Orlando had that type of physical defense that maybe could match you guys? Did they even come out with more force than you thought?
No, not at all. We knew what we were going to expect. Again, I think it was just a great opportunity for us to get out, get on the court, see what it was going to feel like, and then prepare for the next one. Appreciate y'all.
Antonio, Orlando was in the driver's seat all night tonight in the Motor City. But if you look at what Detroit did, they hung around all night long. They kept it competitive. What do they need to do to get over the hump, though, as they maintain home court in Game 2?
I'll say this, Lauren. I think the Detroit Pistons will be fine because if you notice, one of the first probably 5 words out of Coach Bickerstaff's mouth was rusty. And the thing, you can scrimmage all week long, but you can't simulate a playoff atmosphere. And now he said they were trying to catch up to the speed of the game. Now I think they're okay. Sometimes you just gotta run this out. You got to get that second win. You have to get it out. I would see the Detroit Pistons from here on out in the rest of the series being okay. Because, again, you can't simulate a playoff atmosphere. You have to get out there and work the rust off. We'll see how Game 2 looks. But I felt like Detroit, after chasing that game all night, worked that rust off.
You mentioned it off the top. This is a Magic team that has been playing all week long, right? In really consequential, meaningful games, meaningful minutes in order to earn their spot here in the first round and making the most of it in Game 1. Still to come on the show, we'll keep hearing from coaches, players alike coming out of this first game in this series. Then we'll look ahead at our nightcap as well. Alongside Antonio Daniels, I'm Lauren Rosen. We're just getting started here on NBA TV, so don't go anywhere. We'll be to the association here on NBA TV. I'm Lauren Rosen. He's Antonio Daniels. Orlando takes Game 1 in Detroit, and right now head coach Jamal Mosley is talking about how his team got it done in Game 1.
Jamal, what did you like most about your team's performance tonight, and how did they do it?
Yeah, I really, the competitive spirit that these guys showed to start the game, being able to battle through runs, but just down the stretch, being able to have a level of poise, knowing when things weren't always going to go our way. They went on their runs, and our guys did a very good job of coming together, communicating the things that they saw, both offensively and defensively. That's a big portion of it for me, is when we communicate at this high level and understand exactly what everybody's trying to accomplish on both sides of the ball. I think this team can be pretty good.
Jamal, Detroit's the #1 seed. They've been off for a week. They won 60 games in the regular season. Is this result surprising at all to you?
No, I mean, again, like you just said it, they've been off. We found a little bit of rhythm playing so many games, so that always plays a part in it. But, I'm still just happy that our guys came out, defended the right way. We were intentional in how we executed our offense. I think those are the things that we talked about being able to do against a great team like this, how they turn you over, how they defend, how they rebound the basketball, all those small things within the game. I was happy that we accomplished that, with this group.
Coach, speaking of poise, when a free throw disparity goes that way, it can crumble a lot of teams. For your group to maintain the type of poise it did in that regard, how pleased were you with that?
Yeah, and we'll go back and look at it. I think it was in the second half, like 21-5. But at the end of the day, I think some of that's just got to be how disciplined we are defending, being smart where we're doing it, and understanding that, you're not going to get a lot of calls. But we've got to make sure that we play through that, regardless of how the game's being called. We have to figure out a way to adjust, and that's where I'm happy that our guys were. They didn't let it didn't derail them from how we were playing and how we were trying to execute and stay just as physical and just as strong. One, attacking the basket, but also on the other end, trying to do it towards the end without fouling.
It's obviously just one game, so there's still a long way to go in this series. But with all the frustration that had kind of built up throughout the regular season, how critical? Where did this come from to find that poise and to kind of stick together the way that they did? Whether it was on Friday, whether it's after Wednesday's game, and then certainly tonight.
Well, this is a new season. We've talked about this a lot with these guys. Like, whatever story you told yourself during the regular season, that story's done, and now it's the playoffs, so it's an entirely new season. And how we come together, how we play with poise, how we defend at a high level, how we communicate with each other, that's all part of this story right now, and that's all it is. It's one game. And can we repeat that on Wednesday? It's going to be even more difficult. So our guys we're going to break it down, watch the film, get our recovery, and understand exactly what we know we need to take care of and what we need to do.
What stuck out most about Paolo's performance tonight?
I thought Paolo's dominance in his approach to the game was excellent. His voice, his command of the floor, his court presence was special. And I think that's how the team follows. When he has that presence, it's something to be seen. And his aggression downhill, attacking, stepping into a shot with a high level of confidence, finding the matchups that he wanted, all those small things within the game. And the guys fed and read off of that.
I don't know how many assists he had, but the ones that he did have, particularly that alley-oop to Wendell early in the third, just how artful were those passes? Yeah,
it's the interesting part about Paolo is that some of the assists you won't see because of sometimes it's a hockey assist, and he's drawing 2, drawing 3. You show some clips on when he gets the ball in the block. They've got a man on the low block coming over. They got a man coming down from the free throw line to dang near triple team him to bring a crowd, and he's making the right play. And then it's our job on the back end to move it one more so we can go from good to great. But that's basically his assist because of what he's drawing on the court.
With Cunningham and Tobias, they got theirs, but the rest of the team was really quiet. Conversely, with your team, Banchero had a lot of complementary pieces. You talk about how you neutralized most of their team and how you had so much going for you?
Yeah, I think defensively, I'll go back and look at the film and see exactly what that looks like for us in certain situations. I don't love the fact that they got out and got 25 fast break points. Those are part of it. That's part of our offense and our ability to sprint back. But we had guys that were just willing to make the extra play, the extra pass. This is going to be a small possession game, and every possession matters, and I think that's very important for us. But everybody being able to contribute and not, let shot making or missing dictate how you play this game.
Jamal, I was down in the tunnel when you guys were coming off, and I heard you say, act like we've been there before. But technically, you guys haven't been there before as far as winning a road game on the playoffs. So how do you balance the excitement of winning this game with how much you still have left to do?
Yeah, you can be happy that you got the win. That's fine. And that's part of this game. Like, this is a 7-game series for a reason. But you don't want to act surprised like it's not something that you're capable of doing. Everything that we're doing in this moment from here on out is about the mindset. If you act surprised, then when you get hit in the face, you're not going to know how to respond back. And our guys need to keep remembering that this is what we know we're capable of doing. So you're not surprised in that situation. Enjoy the moment for this night, 24 hours, and then get back to work, because you got to find a way to make it even better on Wednesday, because it's going to be harder.
Jamal, I asked you over here on your left. I asked you before the game about the intention versus drawing attention.
Mm-hmm.
They shot a lot more free throws. You still won the game. So can you live with that attention if you make your intention known?
Yeah, we said it from the beginning what type of game it was going to be, how physical it was going to be. Now, I'm going to have to go back, look, and our coaches will have to go back and look at why it was 21-5 in the second half and see where we were grabbing and holding and not getting those calls, and then have to look at exactly how they were playing us, why those same calls weren't called on the other end. Again, but I do love that our intent was there to be physical, to be aggressive, to be strong. Now we've just got to be smarter with it when they're going to the basket. But I think that 21-5, we'll have to look at it as coaches and see where we can be better, and also where we have to attack a lot stronger so we can actually get that whistle to blow.
How sick was Desmond over the last 3 games, and what did it take for him to play the number of minutes at the level that he did play tonight?
Desmond's a warrior. And I've said this time and time again, his ability to play through whatever it is, his toughness, his ability to rally the guys and just play the right way the entire night. And if he's not showing up for anything, it's because he's definitely not feeling great, but he's going to show up when the time is necessary, and that's what he's able to do.
Franz, I think, started one for 7 from the floor. He's kind of, since coming back from the injury, had some good moments, had some bad moments. But what does it say about him and this team to be able to have the fourth quarter that he had to kind of keep the Pistons at arm's length and kind of step up in that moment?
Yeah, I wish you could be in our huddles. I think there's just such a high level of communication amongst the group, no matter what's happening, whether shots made, whether shots missed, whether a turnover happens. There's such a high level of communication about what needs to be done, how we can approach it, whether it's going in or not. That's what these guys continue to do. Support. They support one another. They're pulling together no matter what's happening. They talk about getting stops, but at the end of the day, you're not letting the shot making or missing impact how you're playing on the other end and when you're playing together as a team.
How critical is the start of the second half? The first half you could say you guys were ready. They're rusty, but the second half you smacked them right in the mouth there, third quarter.
Well, being able to go in at halftime, watch the film, see what works, the communication level amongst the coaches and the players is big. And so then being able to attack and get downhill and put pressure on them was key for us. But it also, you talk about it starting on the defensive end of the floor. You got to make sure that's creating the offense and not trying to chase it. And I thought our guys did an excellent job of that, sharing, trusting, finding the things that they could pick on, and they stayed with it. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Oh, great.
Act like you've been here before, says Jamal Mosley to his team. They acted like they had been there before tonight, to be sure. Antonio, these teams went 2-2 against one another in the regular season. What are you anticipating in Game 2?
Well, I'm anticipating Detroit kind of looking more like the Detroit Pistons we became accustomed to seeing throughout the course of the season. I tell you what, Lauren, Jamal Mosley used a couple words that I loved, right? He talked about being poised. He talked about being disciplined. When you have a young basketball team on the road in a hostile environment, that's difficult to beat. You know how many games I've watched this year where the free throw difference has been 21-5 in the second half, and you see the road team just completely melt, right? Just completely fall apart mentally. So to watch this team hold it together, Jamal Mosley praising his team for the communication, to stay poised, to stay disciplined, and stay mature, I think that's huge as far as moving forward for the Orlando Magic.
We're going to hear from Detroit as the show goes along. But if you're in those huddles, if you're in practice or shoot around with Detroit over these next 36 hours or so, what adjustments are you hoping to see them make?
Well, the thing is, I think the biggest adjustment is them on the defensive side of the ball. Because as JB Bickerstaff said, you're not accustomed to watching the Detroit Pistons come out and give up a 35-point quarter. This is a team that is solid defensively. They're physical. So now you would expect them to get their sea legs under them, understand the way that the game is being called, and they can come out and play to their identity, which starts on the defensive side of the floor.
Cade Cunningham, the leading scorer tonight in Detroit, but it wasn't quite enough. We're going to hear from Cade about what he hopes to see out of his team in Game 2 when we welcome back into the association on NBA TV and the NBA app. I'm Lauren Rosen. He's Antonio Daniels as we continue recapping what happened as the Orlando Magic beat the Detroit Pistons in Game 1 of their 7-game set here in the opening round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Now, Cade Cunningham led the way. He's the leading scorer of the day thus far, 39 points. He's addressing reporters at the podium right now. Let's hear what he has to say about what he hopes to see from his team in Game 2.
You just feel like the team didn't have this usual energy and flow to start this one. What did you see early in the first quarter, and just what went on for you guys tonight?
Yeah, just I think we came out a little too, I don't know, tight, lax, whatever the word is, maybe both for some of us, but just didn't come out with the right energy. Gave them life early on, and then we had to deal with that for the rest of the game. We were better in stints, but can't dig a hole like that. Something we've said a lot this year.
Third quarter, first half you could understand, it's been a week, but how disappointing was the start of the second half?
Probably the same. Got to be better. Will be better. I'm still very excited about this series and where it's going to push this team to. So, it's a lot of things that we can learn from this game, and we'll move forward and be better.
Teams have more or less guarded you the same way throughout the year, and when they're kind of packing the paint that way against you, what's the challenge in finding kind of just another quality source of offense outside of you?
Just hitting the open man. We got, talent up and down this roster. I got to do a better job of making sure that I'm getting clean pickups and hitting guys in their spot, giving them clean passes so that they can make plays out of it.
Just 4 shot attempts for Jalen Duren. Coach JB Bickerstaff was just saying that they did a good job packing the paint on him. Whether it's yourself or other teammates, what do you think you guys need to do to get him more open going forward?
Yeah, just give him space. Make sure that we're giving him good passes in there. There were a couple times where I felt like I had him, didn't give him clean passes. Same with Stu. That's what they do is pack the paint. So just making sure that we're spacing properly and making crisp passes, and also if they're packing the paint, making plays on the backside of it.
Can you talk about how you felt physically in this game, how different this one was than the 2 or 3 that you played, just to sort of get back into shape versus having to go full bore? Did you get tired at all, or watching your minutes? How did it feel?
I felt great. I really felt great, for sure. So it's been a lot of time in between today and the injury for me now. I've had great preparation. Training staff, weight room staff, everybody's put a lot of time in with me. And I feel great. It was a stint towards the end that I was a little tired. I came out for a minute or two. Coach got me a little blow, and then he got me a break. And then, after that, I felt good to finish the game. So, feel great. Excited for the next one.
Yeah, Cade, we saw what they did in the play-in game. They came in here and, never trailed. Asar just said that they out-physical you. How concerned are you that this is the kind of tone-setting game for them that can help them maybe steal the series?
I know that they feel great about this game. That was a big win for them. They came in, they handled their business, and stole one on the road. That's what you want to do in a playoff series. So, I'm sure that they feel great about that. Obviously, we're sick about losing this one. It's a long series though. There's no confidence dropped from us. We know that team, they know us. So it'll be a long, fun series.
Cade, JD said that there were moments when you guys found what you needed to do and you were able to do it. What made it so challenging to do that with any kind of consistency?
Repeat that.
JB said that there were moments when you guys found what you needed to do.
Yeah.
For instance, in the third quarter, 7 minutes to go, you tied at 65. What made it so difficult to maintain the consistency to do the right things to get up on them?
Yeah, we found some good things. Just got to keep those things going. Defensively, specifically, continuing to execute our coverages, rebounding the ball. They got more second chance points than us. Felt like more offensive rebounds. So actually, they didn't get more second chance points, but that's what it felt like. I mean, they were 4 for 11. We were 6 for 9. I mean, just having those opportunities, second opportunities, they beat us in the rebound game. So those are things that we do better than everybody. And they did that well tonight. It's something that they want to do too. Great game for them. We didn't execute properly. So, we'll be better.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cade addressing his own passing there tonight, Antonio, stood out to me. He, of course, was their leading assister during the regular season, nearly 10 assists per game. Tonight, just 4, and there were no Pistons that were able to share more than 4 assists here tonight. How do they get the ball moving? Cade just said he wants to get his teammates better looks. How do they do so as this series goes along?
Well, number one, I always appreciate when a guy can come up and take some accountability for what he feel like he didn't do well in that particular game. But look, here's the thing about the Detroit Pistons. What Orlando did is what every team is going to do against the Detroit Pistons. They're going to pack the paint. This is a big-time paint basketball team, right? This is what they're going to do. And this is what I love about the playoffs, right? I love game 1 to game 82 is checkers. Game 83 in the second week of April is when chess starts. So now if I'm Cade Cunningham, if I'm JB Bickerstaff and the Detroit coaching staff, now I know what's coming. I know what they're going to do. I know that they're going to attack the paint. Now I have to figure out ways to offset that. And that's what this next 48 hours that you referenced earlier, Lauren, will be used for.
The chess match begins, and Orlando played some good chess here on night 1. Paolo Banchero discussing what went well right now.
To get this one on the road, game 1, that's you guys. You talked about it the other day. If you guys want to get over the hump, you have to do this. So what does it feel like to accomplish this goal, and what does it mean for the group going into Wednesday?
Yeah, I would say it's a step, in the right direction for the team, for this group. Obviously, with our past track record on the road in the playoffs, and we just got to get ready for Wednesday, see what we did well, what we can clean up. Obviously, expect them to come out and with a lot of energy, and we just got to be ready for it.
You talked pregame about how it would take a warrior mentality to take down the Pistons on the road. What did you make of this group as a whole, their poise and ability to respond every time Detroit came out with a punch?
Yeah, I think it's something we just were really harping on, the days before the game, just what it was going to take in terms of just our communication and how together we were coming in here on the road. And I just thought we did a great job, of just having huddles, talking in the timeouts, and just being on the same page. Whenever stuff started to go a little left, we just came together and got back on track.
You guys talked about it all in the run-up to this game, how this is a new season now. But how did you kind of put aside the frustration that came from the regular season to kind of find yourselves, whether it was after Wednesday's game or heading into tonight?
There's nothing you can do to go back and change what happened. At the end of the day, we're here in the playoffs, and we have a chance to, go and do, what we've set out to do since, October. So, like I said, you can't get too caught up in, what happened in the regular season and the frustrations, and you got to just come together, realize that we're fully healthy right now, and we feel like we're clicking as a group. And we found something against Charlotte, with our defense and our energy and our communication. And we know that if we just reciprocate that, we give ourselves a chance every night, no matter who we playing. So, definitely just a new season and new energy.
Paolo, all 5 starters were in double figures. Different guys were taking turns, whether it was Jalen at the start, Franz at the finish, you throughout. When you have that kind of balance offensively, how dangerous does it make your group?
Yeah, I think everybody just being aggressive. I think it started with me and Jalen early on, and then Franz, Dez got going, Tristan hit a big shot, AB, Wendell was consistent the whole night. So I think just with the starters setting the tone with aggressiveness on offense, and guys just following along. I think guys feed off each other's energy, and I think us just as a team, having that communication throughout the game, it allows us to trust the hot hand or trust whatever we see out there, whoever has the advantage in terms of the offense. And it was good to see everybody kind of get an opportunity and get going at the right time, and ultimately we got the win. So just want to try to keep that up.
We know that you've been a playoff performer in your 2 previous postseasons, but how much does the defense change when you set the tone and get kind of your scoring going early in a game? Yeah,
I think I think I can just be a calming presence for the team, with the offense, and obviously playing defense too, but offensively, just getting the ball where it needs to go, and then obviously scoring one-on-one. That slows the game down when the ball goes through the net. We're able to set up our defense, and I feel like just that's one of my strengths is when the game's slowing down or when defenses are trying to be more physical. That's when I'm able to still get to what I want to get to and score the ball. So just knowing coming into a road environment, I knew I had to be ready to play and from the jump.
Paolo, would you take us through, please, your alley-oop assist early in the third quarter to Wendell?
Yeah.
What did you see on that play, and how did you throw the pass as accurately as you did? It was a post-up on the side, and I was taking my time, and, they flooded the floor where the big comes over to my side of the lane, and Wendell kind of started, and he was actually out of bounds, I think, and he, I kind of just had my eye on him, and then he kind of crept into the short corner and pointed it up in the sky. So that was, just my cue to throw it, and I just, wanted to give him a good, accurate pass. I feel like I'm able to deliver the ball wherever I see fit, and I give credit to him though, because I wouldn't have thrown it if he didn't point up, to the sky for the lob. So, he kind of saw it, and we both kind of made eye contact, and we executed the play. So, but that just is what I'm, talking about when I'm talking about the communication and the execution piece that we've been talking about these last couple of days of just when we come in on the road, that's what has to be clicking.
Yeah, just Paolo, what you guys did in the play-in game, what you came in and did here. Sir Thompson just admitted that you guys out-physicaled them. Is this the kind of tone-setting game that'll help you think, give you confidence that you can steal this series from the Pistons?
It's just a good win for us as a team, getting it on the road against a great team, a 1 seed. But at the end of the day, we got to come back Wednesday and, reciprocate it. They're not going to lay down. If anything, they're going to turn it up. So we got to be ready for that. And it's just 1 game at a time mentality. That's what it's got to be. And it's 1st to 4. So, just 1 game at a time.
Anyone else? All right, thanks, Pete. Thank you, everyone. We'll keep you updated on our schedule.
Just heard from Paolo, Orlando's leading scorer here in Game 1. He had 23, but all 5 Magic starters scored at least 16. Antonio, when this specific starting unit is at its best, what does it do well, and where could it improve as the rest of the series moves along?
Well, what it does well is they play off of Paolo Banchero's gravity. The play that they're referencing, which was the lob to Wendell Carter Jr., and what Jamal Mosley talked about earlier is the fact that Detroit didn't have a one-on-one matchup for Paolo Banchero. When he is playing at this level, and Grant Hill talked about it on the broadcast, right? Someone with that size and that power and that skill set, when you have to attach 2 guys to him, now that makes the rest of the floor out of balance. And he did a great job using his gravity to make the game stress-free for his teammates around him. Now, the difficult part, Lauren, is this is just 1 game. This is just one. This is not the NCAA tournament. This is not the play-in tournament. It's 1st to 4, not 1st to 1. Now, to do that game after game after game after game, that's where it becomes difficult.
Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, 2 of the other Orlando starters who we haven't heard from yet, are speaking together now, so let's take a listen.
Jalen, obviously you guys haven't won on the road in the playoffs under Jamal Mosley. Just to get this win on the road, what does that mean for this group and for this team?
It means a ton. We were just talking about it in the locker room. Me and Franz were just talking about it walking back here. It's a completely different feeling. Winning on the home or winning at home, you have all the juice. Crowd is lit on your run, so it feels, I wouldn't say a bit easier, but you just have that auto momentum built in. Here, it's got to come from the 15 and the coaching staff. And I think today we did an amazing job from the get-go, coming off throwing the first punch, and then sustaining that energy. Not letting it drop off. In the moments when they went on runs, we're really intentional in our timeouts about coming out, deadening the momentum, and getting back on our flow. So I think it says a lot about everybody, about our growth and how far we've come. And this feels better than all the other ones, to be honest.
This question could be for either of you, really, but a lot of the immediate headlines from this game: Orlando shocks Detroit. They stunned the #1 seed. Shocking upset. Why is the way you guys came out, the way you won this game, not a surprise to either of you?
I mean, I think everybody knows we got a really talented team. Obviously we didn't have the regular season that we wanted, but that's how it goes sometimes. And I think we showed today that we belong here. And it's got to be consistent, though. One game doesn't win the series, so it's got to be our mindset going forward.
Jalen, kind of building on that, we know that this regular season wasn't what you wanted. Coach came up here, said, it's a new season, it's time to write a new story. But how do you kind of put the frustration that may have been on and off throughout the last 4 or 5 months to start anew tonight?
It's pretty easy, to be honest, because it's impossible not to get excited for these games, especially when you have high character guys around and competitors, all throughout the locker room. So, like I said, we truly said that. We had a conversation about letting everything go, learning from all that, but stepping into a new space and a new season, because the playoffs is that. And I think our practices have been elite. Our communication has been high level, and film. We're really breaking down the game and preparing ourselves for when we get out here. And I think that really helped us out today. We knew we were getting to defensively. We really dialed in on our rotations, where we wanted to be, where we wanted to funnel the ball. So, in terms of that, it's easy to let that go, because all that matters now is the game that you're playing and taking care of the series.
Franz, I know you might have heard in the back, you started 1 for 7 at the start of the game, but to score those 11 points in the fourth quarter and kind of help get this team over the finish line, what does that say about where you're at physically and what you or anyone can give to this team in these moments?
Yeah, I think Coach hit on it. You're gonna miss some shots, make mistakes out there. As long as the shots are good shots, that's something we can work on. Sometimes you can't control makes and misses, and I thought I had good energy all game, gave good effort all game, and if all 15 play consistently like that, I think we have a good chance every night.
You guys won the battle in the paint, aggressive on the boards. What were the keys to success in that department there?
I think we would have been even better there if we would have taken care of the ball a little bit better. They got a lot of easy ones in transition, and they got that crowd going a couple times. So I think that's something we got to focus on for our next game. And I like to focus on the game plan. And obviously we're gonna see how game 2 plays out. They're gonna probably make some adjustments, and obviously watch the film as well. So we got to be ready for that.
Jalen, just how are you feeling? I saw you grabbing your left knee a couple times, and just how key are these next 2 days off before Wednesday?
I feel good, and they're very important. Time for us to spend time together, stay connected as a unit, watch the game, take care of our bodies, and just get ready for another battle. But like I said, I'm protected, glory to God, so I'm feeling solid.
Both of you had some excellent passes of your own, but I wanted to ask you about the quality of some of Paolo's passes tonight. If you recall his alley-oop pass early in the third quarter to Wendell, how difficult a pass is that to execute from that part on the floor?
Yeah, super difficult. That's why that got us going, I think, as a group. And I think when Paolo plays like that, manipulates the game, I think that sets great players apart. So I think he let us all game tonight, and when he's playing like that, I think we're tough to beat.
Anything else, David?
Fellas, they shot more free throws. There was a lot of fouls called on you guys. But can you live with that as long as you're setting the tone physically and mucking things up for them and making it very difficult for them to score in the paint?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think that, we have many just bad fouls that were lazy ones. You know what I'm saying? That because we were out of position that we had to foul. We didn't give up many and ones, which I also thought was really good. But that's just how the game flow goes sometimes. You know what I'm saying? There might be a game where we come out and shoot more free throws. You know what I'm saying? Just because, the quality of our fouls, go our way. And, we make it to the bonus a bit earlier than they do. So, I'm perfectly fine with how we played. I loved how physical we were. I think that we were smart when we needed to be, especially getting into foul trouble. Me, Dez, and recognizing when bonus was there, not getting the silly ones, out on the perimeter or out in the backcourt. So I think you absolutely can live with it as part of the game. It'll all balance itself out in the end.
Everyone good? All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Love to see the smiles on the faces of the Orlando Magic. But Antonio, what should they expect going into game 2 now that Detroit knows what to expect?
Well, the thing that you don't want to do if you're the Orlando Magic, you don't want to be complacent with winning one on the road, right? It's very easy to do. You go into a playoff series, you get that first one. It's like, okay, we can kind of let our hair down and worry about getting back at home. If you're Orlando, you want to come out and be greedy. You and I were talking before we came on camera about any playoff series, all the pressure is on the home team. Because when you're the team that's coming into those games, all you want to do realistically is get one of the two. If you get one of the two, you've done your job. Now, if you're the Orlando Magic, you have to understand after winning game 1, your job isn't done, right? You have to come out and you have to be almost overly greedy, overly aggressive to try and steal both on the road, because that puts an incredible amount of pressure on the Detroit Pistons in game 3, then moving forward.
Well, they put themselves in a very interesting, intriguing position, have the young Orlando Magic, the first low seed, the first road team to win one in these playoffs. And when we come back, we'll take another look at what we just saw. We'll look ahead to what's going on in San Antonio. We will be right back here on NBA TV and the NBA app. This